Well, it's 12:15 and we've started recording, so I want to welcome everybody and call this meeting to order. I think one of the most important things we do as members of this organization is selecting our leadership. So this town hall today is an opportunity to get to know the people who have stepped up and agreed to run for officer and director of the organization. And we will give them each an opportunity to make a statement and to answer some questions. Now, we don't have a lot of members on this call, but we are recording this, as you can all see, and hopefully members, as they're about to cast their votes, will access the recording and learn from you about what you see as the challenges and what you would like to do as an officer or director of the organization. So I'd like to first introduce Tim Graber. Tim is our incoming president. I'm about to end my term as president, so Tim will be leading you after this election. Tim was active in recruiting and putting forward this slate of officers and directors you see, and I know he's excited to work with all of you, or those of you who are ultimately elected. While you can't all be elected, you will all be successful candidates in that you will have met more people than you knew when you started this, and you will learn ways that you can stay actively involved with the organization, win or lose, in June. So I'd like to give you, I'll briefly introduce you, and then we'll start with statements from our officer candidates, and then we'll move on to our director candidates. So up first, and we're introducing people as they are going to appear or as they are appearing on the ballot. We did this random selection, very, very scientific process. So our first candidate for vice president is Lauren Breen. She is the executive director of Neighborhood Legal Services. Our next candidate is Jennifer, we call her Jenna Metzger-Cabrera. She is Assistant Attorney General for the New York State Attorney General's Office. For Deputy Treasurer, we have Andrew Wilson. He's partner and the co-lead of the immigration team at Lippis Mathias. And for Deputy Treasurer, also, we have Vanessa Gabrielle. She's managing attorney of Gabrielle Law, specializing in matrimonial and family law. Next, we'll introduce the director candidates. We have Elise Kassar. She is a senior associate at Duke Holtzman, Photiadis and Green. We have Carolyn Devon, Associate Attorney at Gross Schumann. D. Charles, we call him Charlie Roberts, at, he's the owner of Roberts Law PLLC. We have Carrie Colloquia, partner of Colloquia Law Firm. Gianni Zanata, who is Vice President, Deputy General Counsel here at Rich Products. Joshua Dubs, partner at Webster and Dubs. And also Cheyenne Freely, who's an associate attorney at Hodgson Russ. And Cheyenne couldn't be with us today, but she pre-recorded a statement for us. So
can you hear me?
Oops.
Where are you going? Tamika.
Sorry. All right, so we will start with our vice president candidates and give you a moment to introduce yourself and do an opening statement, a brief statement to introduce yourselves to the group. So Lauren, we start with you.
Okay, thank you, Jill. I appreciate everybody's time today. I'm Lauren Breen. As Jill said, I'm the executive director at Neighborhood Legal Services. And I'm honored to be running for the Bar Association of Erie County Vice President. Belonging to a bar association is one of the most valuable resources an attorney can have because bar associations create community. I think the bar associations in Western New York are especially good at this. And I taught at UB Law School for almost 24 years. And for much of that time, I did not belong to the Erie County Bar Association. But when I came back at the end of 2016 to Neighborhood Legal Services, one of the very first things I did was join the Bar Association. And I think, Anne, that was before you were hired. Yeah. And then I had the privilege of being on the board of directors from 2018 to 2021 and working closely with Anne and with the other directors, including my esteemed opponent, Jenna, and had a wonderful time working with her on the board. But, you know, Jill, when you say the challenges and what, you know, I would plan to do as president, I read recently an article that the ABA put out, and it said that sadly, attorneys have surpassed, I suppose, dentists as the loneliest profession. And I think that the opportunity to create community in the Erie County Bar Association is really could not be more important than it is today after the past 3 years in this pandemic. And so I don't have a magic wand, obviously, to cure loneliness, especially for the legal profession. But what I would really work hard to do is to bring people back into the Bar Association. Somebody, one of the younger people at NLS, and we have a fair number of members in our 100-person legal office here of the Bar Association. But they said that, you know, the younger people, you know, are not so interested in the Bar Association. And I have heard that as I've been visiting firms over the past few weeks. And at the same time, I met a lot of younger attorneys who do belong to the Erie County Bar Association. So I would be working to figure out how to make this wonderful, rich resource that we have here in Erie County meaningful to people who are not members. So I'm going to be quiet because we've got a lot of people who need to speak, but thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you, Lauren. You'll have more opportunity to speak when we have questions.
Okay, thanks.
Next, we have Jenna, our other vice president candidate.
Hi, I am also feel very honored to be running this year. I'm currently stepping off on my 3-year term on the board. It's my last, I think today was the last board meeting. I'm also the chair of the membership committee, and I'm deeply involved in the diversity, equity, inclusion committee, which is sort of how I came back to the Bar Association after years of being involved with the Minority Bar Association. And so thanks to a friend who got me more involved. So I agree with Lauren, it's about feeling belonging. And as chair of the membership committee, we've been trying to do a personal touch on that too. And I do have to say that during the pandemic, the Bar Association was sort of a lifeline for me as I worked on the committees, which I do think is really sort of the heart of this association. It really sort of was a lifeline to many of us. So, so I'm looking forward to serving the Bar Association and our membership.
Thank you, Janet. So next we move on to our deputy treasurer candidates in the order they appear on the ballot. So Andrew, can you kick us off?
I don't think he's on.
Oh, sorry. All right, Vanessa, could you kick us off?
Sure. Yeah. So, hi, everybody. I'm Vanessa Gabrielli, and I am running for deputy treasurer. I am so grateful for this opportunity to just run. What Jill said previously, you know, I've met so many people just going around and introducing myself as a candidate, and it reminds me more and more of why I really enjoy the Bar Association and being a member. I just stepped off as co-chair for the Matrimonial and Family Law Committee, and I served on that for about 3 years, and I really enjoyed it. It's one of our bigger committees that we have with the Bar Association. I also previously, I pretty much have helped put together the ski day every year. I'm a big proponent of that. And I want to, I guess, one of the challenges that I want to figure out with the Bar Association is what can we do activity-wise to bring up stuff for more members? Like, what do our finances look like so we can have more events to bring people together? I loved networking at the Bar Association events. I love the ski day. And I just really, I've been an active member of our Erie County Bar Association since I was admitted to the bar, and it's helped me throughout my career. And I want to give back. And after stepping down from serving the MAT committee, I decided to take it a step further. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity. So I'd ask, for you guys to think of me for deputy treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Next, we'll allow our director candidates to make a brief statement. And again, in the order in which you appear on the ballot, we'll start with Elise.
Thank you, Jill. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm also very honored to have this opportunity, and it's really a pleasure to be here with all of you this afternoon. I'm just coming off as immediate past president of the Women's Bar Association, and really for the past 8 years have been heavily involved with that group through membership and various programming. I really couldn't imagine my professional life without being involved in a bar association. I've met so many wonderful friends and colleagues, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to transitioning onto the Erie Bar Association. I really see a couple things that we definitely talk about in the women's bar that I think are so important now. One is definitely work-life balance for men and women. I think a lot of that came to the forefront during COVID, and it's really an opportunity to address that head on. And also just engaging young members. I know that's been brought up already, but we see it a lot in the women's bar that there's really kind of this gap of getting younger attorneys involved and seeing the benefits of professional organizations and networking. So I really see those two things as really top priorities that I would certainly like to focus on and assist with if I was given the opportunity to serve. So I would appreciate the vote, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Carolyn Devon.
Hi, everyone. Same for me. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm an associate at Gross Schumann. I'm in my 4th year of practice. I moved to Buffalo in 2008, went to Canisius College, and then worked for a local nonprofit until attending law school in 2016, and have been happy to have made that transition to the legal profession. I really can't imagine my practice without being a part of the Bar Association. And of my 4 years, 3 of them, I've been co-chair of the Young Lawyers Committee. And the people who I meet through the Bar Association have truly transformed my practice. I don't have to work directly with attorneys to appreciate the relationships that I have now. And I just learned so much. I enjoy going to meetings and events, and I feel good walking away. And I really want to invite and always encourage that participation and involvement from colleagues and peers who are in my, the 0 to 10 year range. And because it's just made such a difference for me, and I really want to be involved in continuing that effort. So thanks.
Thank you, Carolyn. Next, we have Charlie. Is Charlie here?
Thought I saw.
No, Charlie? Okay, we'll move on. And Charlie can step in at the end if he joins us. Carrie?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. If anybody knows me, they know I'm usually a happy, smiley person. I was really reflecting before today on what the Bar Association means to me and the role that it's played in my life. And I had an opportunity to speak to a group of young, hopeful law students at the Economics Club at Buffalo State recently. And they said, what's it like to go to law school? Is it hard? Is it difficult? Can I do this? And my answer to them was yes, but the reason law school is doable is because you're surrounding yourself with other people who are highly motivated and they're high achievers. So reading when you're in law school, yes, you're going to read for 3, 4, 5 hours a day, but it all seems really normal because everyone around you is doing the same thing. So I think very much like a student kind of approaches that, we're in the same way. So when we have an opportunity to be around each other who are highly motivated, high achievers, then it's going to make us better and it'll make it seem like everything we're doing is normal. So we, my background is I moved here from Tennessee. I've been practicing law in real estate for 20 years. And, I started off with a firm that I loved. And then when my son was born, I started my own firm, which was extremely challenging. But I had the benefit of being a member of the Bar Association and surrounding myself with other people who were achieving big things. And so it made it seem normal and natural. I'm highly involved in the community. I love to get sponsorships. I'd love to increase enrollment and involvement in the Bar Association. And I know when I was chair of Real Property Committee, one of the biggest things that I did that did increase enrollment and did increase involvement was nothing really complex. I just had a deluxe breakfast at our annual seminar. So, sometimes it's things like that where you can bring people in, which is easy to do if you're, having the sponsorships or kind of, looking at the budget that way. But, if anyone knows me, they know I like elegant things and nice things to get people involved and to sponsor, communication and togetherness. So that's something that I would like to have if I am fortunate enough to win your vote, and I'm asking for your vote to do those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Next we have Gianni.
Thanks, Jill. Thanks for putting me in this order. It's really hard to follow this crowd. Everyone is so impressive and nice. I'm Gianni Zanata. I'm a UB graduate. I've been a lawyer here in Buffalo for almost 16 years, involved in the community for the last 20. In addition to my position as an in-house lawyer here at Riches, I also have a part-time job as a chauffeur to 2 little boys at home, one of which plays travel hockey. So in taking on this potential opportunity, I think one of my focuses will be work-life balance for busy working attorneys, which I think whether you're a parent or not, you can relate to, the availability of resources for practice management, efficient use of your time in getting CLE and, activities that keep up with the modern times. Just having the Zoom meeting today is just so wonderful to have this kind of resource available to be able to have the sense of community with other lawyers. So that's my spiel. I hope you consider me for one of your directors, though. If you don't, I can't blame you. This is really a wonderful crowd. So thank you.
It is indeed, Gianni. Next we have Joshua.
Thank you. And thank you to the nominating committee for the very questionable decision to nominate. No, I'm just kidding. My name is Josh Dubs. I think I know a lot of you. I'm a partner at Webster and Dubs PC. I practice primarily in real estate and probate. I'm very active in the Real Property Committee and the Surrogate Courts P&P Committee. I'm a former co-chair of the Young Lawyers Committee until I stopped being young. So I'm just kind of treading water until they asked me to co-chair the Old Lawyers Committee, which will be someday. So I very similar to Carrie, I'm not from around here. I won't tell you all where I'm from or what sports teams I root for until after the vote is over. Yeah, I see Stephanie nodding her head because she knows. But when I came here to come to law school, I didn't have any connections. I didn't really have any stepping stone into the legal community. And I went right out on my own, right out of law school in 2008, right when the economy was going in the crapper. So when I would ask people, what advice do you have for somebody that's just going out on their own? What they all told me was join the Bar Association. Join the Bar Association, you'll get camaraderie, you'll get, committees, you get CLEs, you'll get all that. And as I've been saying throughout my campaign, that was all 100% correct. It was 100% accurate. I've literally had nothing but great experiences with the Bar Association, serving on committees, presenting at CLEs, and the camaraderie has just been terrific. So this is, my seeking a seat on the board is sort of my way to pay it back, to pay it forward. Not just to seasoned attorneys who helped me, but to the younger up and coming attorneys who are now where I was and who will be throughout my tenure. I, would also very much like to help to bring the perspective of the small and solo practice practitioners to the board. There are a lot of members of the board who are from medium and larger sized firms. I'd like to see some of our smaller and solo practice colleagues represented on the board. So that's my basic spiel. I think thank you all for considering voting for me. I've had an opportunity to meet some of the director candidates that I didn't know, and everybody is really cool. So whoever you vote for will get great representation on the board. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So our last director candidate is not able to be with us today. And while we all value the importance of being together, we also recognize that people who are in this organization have busy practices and have also other demands on them. So where we can, we want to be flexible. So we invited Cheyenne to do a video that we would present today. So I'm relying on our folks at the Bar Association to be able to play that now.
My name is Cheyenne Freely, and I am running to be one of the directors of the Bar Association of Erie County. First of all, I really just want to thank you all for being here, for taking the time out of your days to come meet your candidates. Second of all, I want to apologize for not being able to be there in person. I'm currently traveling for work, but I'm really grateful for any opportunity in any form that I have to come before our members and to share a little bit about myself. I'm currently an associate at Hodgson Russ in their business litigation group, and I am a recent graduate of the Georgetown University Law Center. Throughout my educational career and now my professional legal career, I've always had this passion for advocacy, this passion for service, and in acting on that passion, I've developed a skill set that I really think I can use to better the experiences of our Bar Association members, as well as the Western New York legal community more broadly. Whenever I accept a position of service or a position of leadership, I act or I lead through a lens of inclusivity. And when I say this, what I mean is I strive to bring as many voices to the table as possible. I don't think that in any position of service or leadership, I can effectively do my job without ensuring that as many voices as possible are influencing that job and guiding what my objectives are. With respect to the Bar Association, I would specifically seek to increase membership amongst attorneys from underrepresented backgrounds, as well as newer attorneys who may have just passed the bar or may have just been admitted. I think that by bridging this gap between long-standing members and newer or even prospective members for that matter, both groups can use their experiences, their knowledge, and their own skill sets to improve the experiences of the Bar Association as a whole. In doing so, we can all work towards a legal profession that is more just, more equitable, and more inclusive. I would look forward to having the honor to serve as one of your directors of the Bar Association of Erie County. And I also look forward to any opportunities to connect with any of you in person or via email. That being said, thank you all so much for your time, and best of luck to my fellow candidates.
Good job, Chase. It seems like every time I am expecting to do something like that, it fails. So I'm really impressed that you could pull that off. So that was great. So we had a couple people that weren't present when it was their turn. I just want to make sure, did Andrew join us? And wasn't there one other person? But okay, all right. So that not being the case, I have to say that when we kicked off this campaign and had all the candidates in the room, I got really excited for the future of the Bar Association because there was such great energy and great support for each other that I know the organization is going to be better off with this group of people serving them going forward. So We're going to open it up to questions, but I thought it might be a good idea to ask Tim Graber, who will be your president next year, if he wanted to ask the first question. Sorry, Tim, I didn't give you the heads up on that.
Oh, no, that's okay. I appreciate the opportunity. I'd like just briefly, because I know we are limited in time, but if you could talk just briefly about why you joined the Bar Association and then now why you're running to be a member of the board or an officer or a director.
So I think we'll probably do it in the same order that we've been doing things. So some of you hit on it during your opening statement, but just you know, elaborate a little bit more for us as your name is called. So we're going to start with you, Lauren.
Okay, I'll be quick because I mentioned in my statement that that I joined because I had been in the ivory tower for about 24 years, and I returned downtown Buffalo at the end of 2016, and it just seemed the most natural way to reconnect with the legal community. Why I'm running? Well, Melinda Saran called me and asked me. That was the first.
It's hard to say no to Melinda Saran.
It is, yeah, it is. It really is. And but the more I thought about it, and especially this morning, I think this is a really important time to connect people, period, but especially important for lawyers. And I think it presents, you know, what do people say? Don't waste a good crisis, you know, because it presents opportunity. And I think the opportunity is to call people back, maybe who have left the Bar Association, and invite people in who haven't yet joined us. So that's why I'm running. Thanks.
Before you sign off, Lauren, I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on why you were at the university you didn't belong. And I think that is one of our challenges. The people at the university are not necessarily joining us in the percentages we want. But in retrospect, do you think it would have been helpful to be a member in that role, or is there something you think we could do to reach out to the faculty and staff at the law school?
Yeah, I think that so I was in the clinics and I was a practitioner, and I think it would have been very helpful. And for much of my time out at the law school, I think I did belong to the New York State Bar Association, and I was very active in the American Bar Association during that time. So I can't imagine that it wouldn't have been helpful to me. And it may have come down to cost because the law school, I think I even had trouble getting them to pay for one membership, but because I was very active, we had a journal, the ABA Journal of Affordable Housing and Community Development Law, and I was the faculty advisor to that journal. But I think there's an enormous opportunity to reach out to the law school to get people to join. I really think there is, and there's value. And Heather Abraham has been very active. She, I think, co-chairs the Human Rights Committee with Karen Nozichuk, who works in our office, and she runs the Civil Rights and Transparency Clinic. And we're just starting an eviction program with the law school through one of our grants. And so I absolutely think that it's kind of there's no place to park out at the law school. It's not convenient, and we would have to go there and present. And I think that it's going to take some effort, but it will really, I think it's so worthwhile. And Heather can be an ambassador for us. So.
Great, thank you. Jenna, can you talk about your decision to join and why you did it?
Sure. So I had joined when I first was a brand new attorney, and I was working at a not-for-profit, a fair housing agency at the time. And I started getting really involved with the Minority Bar Association after that. So I let my membership lapse. Sorry, Anne. But it wasn't until, and I'll say she's here, is Stephanie Calhoun, a friend and colleague at the time, you know, asked me to join her committee. She's been running the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee. At the time, it was called something else, for almost a decade. And that's where the committee work felt good. We're a working group. We were making progress, and I really enjoyed my committee work. So that's why I've since have been more involved, chairing the membership committee too. And, I do agree that there is a disconnect with the younger attorneys really trying to work and, make it appealing to them. I know that we're really trying to focus on how to increase and retain membership, and it's been important to us. But once again, I think that our committee work has been wonderful, and I hope as vice president and president to increase that in my leadership in the community. I enjoy talking to people, getting to know people. I'm very social and outgoing. And I think that's another reason why I chose to run and working together.
Great, thank you, Jenna. Vanessa?
Hi, so I'll keep mine short since I kind of touched upon this in my opening statement. Why I joined the Bar Association? Well, when I graduated law school, everybody said join the Bar Association. So I said, okay, I'll
Great
join the Bar
advice.
Association, right? And as a young lawyer, I'm not from Buffalo originally, I'm from Rochester. So I use that as a way to kind of connect with lawyers in the area. And that's how I ended up meeting my mentor, and I got a job with her and then eventually going off on my own. So I think it is crucial. I think networking and knowing people and having that community, that sense that Lauren was talking about when she first had her opening statement is crucial to, being a lawyer in this community, because it also too, what Kevin talked about when we had that, his speech at the last luncheon that we had, that awards luncheon, developing a sense of civility and community. The Bar Association is just great for that. And why I'm running to be deputy treasurer, I wanted to have more of an involvement with the Bar Association aside from just being the matrimonial committee chair. I love putting on CLEs. I love the area of matrimonial law, which may sound weird to people because most of the time I'm just fighting everybody. But I wanted to do something outside of that. I'm still very, very active with the MAT committee, but I wanted to, on a different level, be involved with the Bar Association. And I think, from colleagues of mine that have been involved in the bar for many, many years prior to me joining, there used to be a lot more community involvement, activities and events and stuff like that. And maybe taking a look at things as a whole, we can kind of see what we can do to maybe bring some of those things back. And I run my own business right now. I've had my business for 3 years and I had to figure it out. I'm good at doing those kinds of things, and I'm ready to kind of go on to my next challenge. So think of me for deputy treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you. Elise?
Yes, so I joined as well when I first graduated from law school. That was just what everybody did at the time. Maybe that's kind of gotten lost a little bit along the way, but it was a privilege to be able to finally join the Bar Association as a young attorney and to be involved and be able to go to events. And similar to, I think Cheyenne touched on this in her video statement, I've always felt a motivation to be involved in community and activities. And I'm also on the UB Law Alumni Association board. I'm on the Women's Bar State Organization board as well. And I really just truly enjoy trying to bring people together and bring new ideas to programming and things like that. So when I was presented with the opportunity to run for director, I didn't even think twice about it. I was honored to be asked and really delighted at the idea of being able to continue to be engaged in the legal community and also in a different way than I have been in the past. So again, I appreciate your vote and thank you.
Great. Carolyn?
So joining the decision, which I support, of it, Gross Schumann to have a membership for all the attorneys, made the decision for me when I started, but I actually then immediately was asked to come to the fall event for the Young Lawyers Committee by the chair at the time. And she reached out to me personally and said, I really think you should come tonight. And I could go. And that kicked off my really love for all of the events. And so I'm stepping down this year in my third and final year as co-chair of the Young Lawyers Committee, and really want to not only stay involved, but do so in a different way. And when the opportunity presented itself, I thought to myself, I really did have a moment of imposter syndrome, in the sense that I thought, I've only been in the field for 4 years. There are attorneys with, so much more experience than me who could sit around the table for the board of directors. But then I thought to myself, no, I want to be somebody who then goes to the events, invites other younger attorneys, make sure that we do have a voice around the table, and feel really good about it. And then selfishly to learn so much from the people with whom I will be involved if I'm on the board. So it's that I just feel really good about that potential opportunity, and to pay it, and like Josh said, to pay it back and pay it forward if possible.
Great, thank you very much, Carolyn. Carrie and Susan, just let me know if Charlie and Andrew join, so we'll make sure that we give them an opportunity to be heard. So next we have Carrie.
Hi, thank you. So I joined the Bar Association when I first moved to Buffalo and started practicing law here. And I really looked up to the people that I worked for at my firm. They were, heavyweight litigators, and just I just was amazed at everything that they did. Every movement or breath they made in the courtroom, it meant something. And I loved working there, even though that's not what I practice now for a practice area. It was wonderful. And one of the things that we did every year was we went to the Law Day luncheon. So as a young associate, you have a nice long lunch, you get to meet people and see people in a different context. And at that time, it was going from a deposition where, people are arguing or being in court and arguing, and then seeing how friendly everyone was with everyone else. And I thought that was really wonderful. So it was something that I looked forward to every year. And so it was automatic for me. I mean, everyone at the firm was a member of the Bar Association. And the reason that I'm running is I think I have a lot to offer. I have my own business, my own practice. I started 17 years ago. And one of the things is that, we just do real estate. So there's people ask me all the time for divorce attorney referrals or things, who can help me with an eviction, or who can, help me with a construction litigation or something. And we don't do that. And I feel that that's one thing where it may be helpful to draw people back in, is having a business component to it. So having a referral network, not just to call the Bar Association, but where we get to know each other and understand this person's really good at, doing personal injury, or this person's really great at doing, divorce work. And when you give a good referral, it makes you look really good, and it's a light lift. So all that it is us just getting to know one another better and expanding our vocabulary and horizons as it relates to other practice areas. So I'm really excited about the potential to assist in that. And, I presented to the big board a few times with different initiatives when I was chair of real property. Some I won, some I didn't. And I remember looking up to the board and thinking, wow, this is so important. And so it's just an absolute honor to be in the conversation.
Thank you very much. Gianni?
Thanks, Jill. So I originally joined the Erie County Bar Association for the events. I'm a firm believer that food and drinks will bring people together, and it was true. I have been involved in the community for as long as I can remember, and I'm going to tell a quick little story because I think it explains why I want to be more involved with the Bar Association. And Stephanie, I don't know if you remember me, but I met Stephanie Calhoun at one of the bar events many years ago, and I had at the time, and she's still my little sister through the program Big Brothers Big Sisters. Her name was Destiny, and she was interested in becoming a lawyer. And I met Stephanie at one of the events and I mentioned Destiny to her. And long story short, Destiny was from a very underprivileged community. And I think she spoke to Stephanie and connected with her. I don't know if she shadowed her for a while. And long story short, today she's in her 20s and she's a very successful, I think she's now a detective. She's in law enforcement. She didn't become a lawyer, but it all started with that meeting at that event with Stephanie. And every time I see your name, Stephanie, I think we haven't met since then, but I think very warmly of you and the opportunity you gave to Destiny. So my participation in the community has been more through charitable organizations. It has been more rogue with, getting a little sister or a mentee from the law school. And I think the reason I have signed up to be a director is because I'd like a more formal part of the discussion and how to help our community, other lawyers, the community in general. So that's me.
Thank you, Gianni. Joshua.
Thank you, Madam President. I really also kind of covered that in my opening statement, why I joined. My mentor coming out of law school was Jen Sturgeon, who now works for the parole department, but she was a solo practicing attorney at the time. She gave me the piece of advice to join the bar association, join all the bar associations. I joined the state bar, the American bar. I was a member of the Women's Bar Association for a number of years. A couple of other county bars, Bar Association of the Tonawondas, and the idea was to meet people, to talk to people, to make connections, all in hopes of furthering your practice. And that's sort of what I wound up doing. Not to contradict my friend Carolyn there, but I don't think it's selfish at all that you use this to learn. That's, I think, what this is all about. I talked to some friends and colleagues that I went to undergraduate with who went to law school and practice in, New York City, Washington, D.C. And they are just amazed when you tell them, about the collegiality that we have here in the Western New York bar. I've never practiced law anywhere else than here in Buffalo. And they're just amazed that we're all just so friendly. And, we go into court and we fight on behalf of our clients. And then we all go out for drinks later afterwards. And that's, I think, a unique aspect to our bar. And I think that it's a tremendous thing that we need to celebrate and to advocate for and advertise for our, growing and increasing our membership. So.
That's great. Thank you very much. I'm really struck by this slate because so many of you really aren't native Western New Yorkers, and I'm so happy to have your perspective in leadership of the Bar Association, and also a lot of really small practice practitioners too. So I think sometimes those people get overlooked in favor of the big firms. So I'm glad to see you so well represented. All right, we're going to open it up to questions from anybody. So if you have a question, put your hand up and we'll call on you. I don't see any hands. So Tim, do you have another question?
Stephanie has a question.
Oh, Stephanie. All right, great.
Sorry.
Thank you, Steve.
Can you guys
I
hear
didn't see
me?
it.
I'm having phone issues, so I had to dial in. I can't hear on my computer's not doing too great today. So I would be honored to throw out this question for the slate here. I'm learning a lot about the different candidates. And so with Bar Association membership across the nation being on decline, what are some strategies that you wish to use to retain and grow and continue to grow our local Bar Association membership?
Okay, I think that maybe we should, instead of going around, if you have a response that you'd like to communicate, so is there a hand up in Zoom or not? I don't know. So if you would.
Lauren.
Okay. All right, so we'll have Stephanie will help us with that. All right, so if you have a response, please put up your hand.
Okay, so do you want me to talk or no? Yeah, okay. So I thank you, Stephanie. I was thinking about this while I was visiting the firms, and I think it's going to take that personal touch, is to just go and visit people where they are and talk to them about, the opportunities that exist for service, that about things that they're interested in, but also, upcoming events, because I think we've never gotten so many emails as we have over the last 3 years. And I think sometimes we just can't possibly keep up with them. But I think that personal touch to go around and talk to people about the benefits of joining the Bar Association, similar to the way we campaign, I think might be an effective strategy.
Anybody else?
There's three of us there, but I'll say ladies first.
Thanks, Josh.
Vanessa.
Vanessa, do you want to go ahead first?
You can go first.
Oh, okay, thank you. No, I was just going to add, I guess, piggybacking off of what Lauren said, I think that something that we've noticed and we've done at the Women's Bar is a Bring a Buddy event. And it really asks current members to reach out to a newer attorney who's not a member and bring them to the event. And I think that personal connection does really help, because when you're a newer lawyer and you go to an event on your own, or if you can't find a friend to come or something like that, just going can be intimidating for some people. So I do think that direct outreach and events like that, where people are really taking the time to approach a newer attorney or somebody who's maybe new to the area and making that personal connection, is something that could really go a long way.
Thank you.
And someone did that for one of the Women Boss Me events, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, and I rejoined after that event. So it works.
Awesome.
I guess can I say something?
Go for it.
Okay. I don't think that there's just a one-ended answer to membership, because I'm pretty involved with the New York State Bar Association's Family Law Section 2. I think that really looking at where the money's being spent with the organization, figuring out, taking maybe statistics from people of what they're looking for, because everybody's kind of like, what's in it for me? Going around for my campaign as deputy treasurer, people have kind of said to me, well, I'm not really a member of the Bar Association anymore, and they're kind of like, I'm not really sure what the Bar Association can do for me. And personally for me, I'm going to always be a member of the bar. I don't know, I have this like connection to it, and I have gotten a lot out of it, but I think people are kind of like, what is in it for me? What do I get out of being a member? Because I'm going to spend my money to be on membership. So I think maybe looking into see what we can offer members that sets us apart from other organizations. And that's just a kind of a dive into, where things are being spent and what we can do to increase membership. And I think the buddy idea is great, because people don't know what's going on. If they haven't come to a Bar Association event, they don't really know what's going on. A couple friends this year went to the ski day that we had in Ellicottville, and my one friend never really came to Bar Association events. He's a partner at a big law firm, and he's not a partner, excuse me, he's an associate. He was like, that was the best event that I've been to for the Bar Association. I absolutely loved it. And doing things outside of just the normal us being lawyers and having lunch and that kind of stuff, where we're doing activities and having that community, would maybe be something that I'd like the bar to consider.
Thank you. Stephanie,
Jenna,
do we have any
Jenna
other
still
hands
has
up?
her hand up. Jenna and then Josh.
So I appreciate this question, just because a few years ago, decline of membership across the nation and all the bar associations really, it's not just an Erie County Bar Association or a local bar association. So the personal touch, that's why I do, I've been working with the committee chairs to really have the chairs embrace new members, make them feel welcome, get them involved, because not only does it help you with your giving back to the community, but you're making connections, you're getting business and things like that. So I think it's important. I think it's we need to focus on that. I also think now that I'm at the AG's office, the CLEs are provided to us for free. And so I understand that, you know, I think a lot of firms also get that, like, what's that in for me? But I think working with Hugh Rust, who is the Dean of the Erie Institute, coming up with new programming, you know, Stephanie and I just watched an amazing CLE and we suggested the topic to Hugh, so that those ideas coming from other areas that would, you know, get people to be more involved is sort of another way to focus. Also the well-being, continuing with that. I have had colleagues who've really struggled that aren't members of the Bar Association, but the, you know, communicating to them that the Bar Foundation is there for them and really putting the word out there is important. And who knows, maybe then they'll join as members. So there's a lot of things that we can do, and I'm excited that everyone's interested and on board, because it really is a challenge. Let's just be honest, it's a challenge for everyone across the nation. So that's just my.
Thank you.
All right, I guess my turn then. So I'm very much in favor of the committee system. I know, Vanessa, you know, you're on the matrimony committee. Carrie and I are both very active on the real property committee. I think the committees themselves are great at outreach, putting on programs, putting on CLEs, and putting on, you know, non-educational sort of networking, you know, fun things. I think that is a tremendous gateway to membership. I know that, you know, in going around to some of the committees, a lot of times, you know, the negligence committee meeting we went to a week or so ago, said that was their first meeting back since the pandemic began in person. So I think the committees are very much getting back into the swing of things. I think everybody is zoomed out, notwithstanding the fact that this is being done on Zoom, but I think, you know, a lot of people are zoomed out and want to resume these in-person activities, and the committees are sort of getting back into that. So I think by the fall, a lot of the committees, if not all the committees, are going to be back in person, doing these things, you know, the way we all used to do it and the way we all remember doing it. And I think that supporting the committees and trying to drive membership will be key to getting the membership of the Bar Association up. And I'd like to support the committees in their efforts.
Jill, Carrie is up next.
Okay.
Hi, thank you. So whenever I'm trying to accomplish anything, I always think about what the person on the other side is looking for and what they would want. And so when it comes to the Bar Association, a big part of what I do is also bringing in business. And so one of the things that I'd like to do, in addition to everything else everyone's brought up, is try to have a referral network that's attorney to attorney. So when we get good people in the same room with good people, good things happen. And I think if we can get things together where we meet other practice area attorneys, then I think it would be economically beneficial to us and worthwhile to become a member for that reason as well. And the deluxe breakfast.
So was there anybody else that had their hand up on this question? Okay, so other than that deluxe breakfast, I
think Carolyn had her hand up too.
Thank you, Carolyn. Go ahead. Thank you, Steve.
Well, I also just wanted to mention, you know, I think especially for younger and newer attorneys, there's a sense of relief if a decision is made for you in some ways. So the support of a managing partner or a supervisor or somebody saying, I not only encourage you to be a member, but here's the form, or it's paid, the membership is paid for you for either 1 year or 2 years. I think that can also make a huge difference. For me, when I got here to work at the firm, the decision was made for me, and I would have loved to join regardless, but I think that there's a sense of, and I don't mean forced on you, but I think in a way of somebody, whether they're brand new or a few years out, just having the support of saying, this is not only a good thing to do, but here, it's done. So I think, you know, working with firms and organizations and agencies to increase that too.
Yeah, I think one of the things we're looking at is there a way we can recognize firms that do that, that sign up all their attorneys, like, is there a special type of status we can give those firms? So we're coming up on our time, but I thought that one thing that came through in a lot of our comments today was this idea of, you know, people finding it easier not to be in person and kind of falling into that. So if we could just go through the group and think of, other than the deluxe breakfast. So Carrie will have to, you'll have to come up with something else. Just a thought on how you might inspire people to come back in person. And so we'll start with you, Lauren.
So you know, again, I think it's making the effort to go where people already are. And that it's a significant investment of time, but we do that when we campaign. And I mean, not everybody is delighted to see me when I arrive on their doorstep unannounced, right? But planned meetings where people could, you know, voluntarily, you know, come and join. And I do think food is not a bad idea. So I agree with Carrie there, but I don't know how to overcome the natural inclination to just, you know, click and be on a meeting like this and be in person. But I think, and I've stressed it here at Neighborhood Legal Services, that you connect so much more authentically when you're in person. And Zooms are great, you know, for many things, but I think it's really going out and talking to people where they are. And I did like the buddy suggestion as well from Elise. So okay.
Thank you. Jenna?
So I'm a people person. I make it a point to go in person, go to events because I enjoy that. But I recognize that it is a balance. 2 years ago, I was the board liaison for the Real Property Committee. And I know there's a lot of small and solo practitioners from like the North Towns, South Towns, and they still have a lot of participation. And I do think it's because of a Zoom situation, easy to get together. So I do recognize it's a balance. I think, you know, encouraging my friends and colleagues to come in person is a good way to do it, but also understanding that, you know, certain committees might be best doing it virtually. And if they're a good working committee, I'm all for it. So I think over time, I guess we're going to have to come up with some type of strategy, but I don't have the answer right now.
Great. Vanessa?
I want to be more involved to figure out a strategy to help out with this situation. So I don't really have a clear-cut answer right now, but I think that, you know, there's not just, like I said before, one answer. So.
Great, thank you. Carolyn? Oh, I'm sorry, Elise.
That's okay. Kind of, again, what Lauren indicated, I think that gauging membership as to what's convenient for people, so much of that has changed now with COVID. People are working remotely and then maybe coming downtown for half the day and things like that. So what used to be, you know, everyone was still around at 5 or 5:30 isn't really the case as much anymore. So, you know, surveying membership or doing things like that to really figure out what is convenient for people with something, you know, at a lunch hour or, you know, starting a little bit early at 4:30 or something along those lines to see what really works for people now that our work life has changed so much. But I do agree that a balance is really necessary because I think if it wasn't for a virtual platform, there would be a lot of people who wouldn't be able to participate, and just kind of trying to figure out going forward what is really, you know, feasible for people that can, you know, we can still attract people in person, but also make it convenient for the work-life issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Carolyn?
Yeah, I echo all of those sentiments. And truly, I think that part of the efforts of just asking different committees what works for them for different events. You know, the Law Day luncheon, going to this 250 person event, to me, I walked away happier than I have in a long time. But I think it's really case by case and event by event and committee by committee. And so, but people appreciate being asked. So really just continuing those efforts too.
That's great. Thank you. Carrie, you already talked about your deluxe breakfast.
Yes. So when, so I think we've all had the same experience over, the past couple of years where you may get a phone call that could have been a text, or you might have a Zoom call that should have been an email. And so I think what we have to do as it relates to the Bar Association is very similar with what we need to do in our practices, which is develop a process and develop a system that really works. And when we're developing a system, we're in a new world. So we need to be flexible and kind of understand what the value is of each mode of communication and try to make it efficient and rewarding for everyone.
Thank you very much. Gianni.
So I have lots of ideas about this, but in any event, I think I'm going to piggyback a little bit on what Vanessa and Carrie said. Vanessa said members want to know what's in it for them. True. And Carrie offered the solution of professional referral, a referral program. You want people to come in, you want young people to come in person. Maybe you offer an event where this is what's in it for you. Come meet other younger people who can offer you a referral. I think we need to know who the audience is and cater to that audience. You want working parents to come into an event, offer a family day. I'd come in if I could have my kids running around asking other lawyers what they do. So as you can tell, I have lots of ideas about this, and I can't wait to discuss them. So vote for me, and you know more after that.
Joshua.
I don't know if I want my kids doing that. My kids think that I draw on my whiteboard all day at the office. And I only do that part of the day. But to echo a lot of what everybody said, what Jenna and Elise said, having, coming to committee meetings and bar events was a lot easier when I was downtown. Now I'm out in Kenmore. Obviously, there's certainly a place for virtual meetings. Particularly when you're, appearing in Schoharie County Surrogates Court from the comfort of your office in Kenmore. It's a lovely drive, but it's a very long drive. So I think, honestly, what needs to happen is there needs to be encouragement for all the committees, not necessarily to go back to exclusively in person, but to hold some in-person things. I know each committee has a board liaison. I think it would be incumbent upon all the board liaisons to encourage their committees to start trying to think about doing in-person things again. Like I said, not necessarily exclusively, but to do something, a networking event, coffee, 5-minute mentoring or whatever, just to get everybody back in person a little bit at the very least.
That's awesome. Thank you all the candidates. It's just nice to hear from you and to know your level of dedication and what your ideas are for the future of the Bar Association. I know we'll be in good hands, regardless of the outcome of the election. I also want to thank all the members who aren't candidates who chimed in today. Your dedication to spending the time to get to know our candidates is very inspiring. So our time being up, I'd like to thank you all for joining today, and don't forget to vote. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ann.
Everybody.
Thanks, Tim, and everybody else.
Great job.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a good week.
Bye.
Take care.
Good luck, everyone.
Bye.